incentive matters.
Why are you here today? Not because your parents got together and that sort of thing. Why are you in Toastmasters today? Why did you come to Toastmasters today? Well, essentially you made a judgment call that said, this is better than doing something else. That's exactly what incentives do. They drive our decision making. An incentive is simply something that guides your behavior. Most of the time we think about it in financial terms. I don't go to NV Energy 5 days a week because I love it that much. Every 2 weeks they give me a financial incentive, and that's the one we normally think of in most cases. The next one is a moral incentive, though. Let's say you're on the freeway and someone's trying to merge in. You kind of have an incentive to be nice to them. Maybe you're running late. Not really. Letting them in would be not very nice. So in most cases, we try and let people merge here. Not in Vegas, not in California. Maybe in Reno, we try and do this. The other type of incentive we run into is coercive incentives. And that's simply, if you don't do something, something bad will happen. And the easy example is you'll go to jail for breaking laws. There's a little coercive incentive for you. Next, we have natural incentives that drive us, and that's things that make us happy, such as sometimes exercise can make you feel better. Sometimes not doing exercise can make you actually feel better. And so we make these decisions constantly. And I have an example of an incentive that I ran into recently, and it's related to healthcare. Now, right now, Jeffrey over there is hoping I talk about the Affordable Care Act and how he loves it so much, and how the personal mandate is an incentive to not have the IRS tax you. But I'm not going to go there. I'm going to talk about my own incentive that I came across related to healthcare. At NV Energy, we have a healthy living incentive program. And at the end, or if we get our blood test, our height, our weight, blood pressure, and we do a tobacco pledge form, we get $300, which is great, because most of us are on a high deductible health plan. All those tests and everything are covered, and I'm somewhat interested to see how bad my cholesterol is getting year over year. So it works out great for me. So I end up doing all the blood test stuff, and getting all of that back, and I'm sitting okay. And then I go on vacation. And at my vacation at the all-inclusive resort that had lots of free-flowing alcohol and lots of Europeans that love to smoke. Apparently they didn't get the memo. But my judgment was impaired. And when they passed me a cigarette to smoke with them, I smoked that cigarette a month ago. So there I am, looking at my $300 financial incentive and that checkbox that says I'm tobacco free. What do I do at that point? Now I'm running into this moral quandary. It was just one cigarette. What would you do, Patty and Mike?
Because I know I'm not a smoker and I just had that little slip, I checked that box.
Well, you're a terrible person.
That's what you get. Being nice to them.
So the exact phrase that you have to check on there is, I don't use tobacco. I don't use, okay, that's true. I really don't use tobacco. I did. I slipped up once. And then the second part, it says, and I have not used tobacco in the previous 6 months. And that's the one that I really couldn't get past. But I'm debating this because I don't have a problem with tobacco. It was one time. I obviously, in the last 6 months, I don't have an issue with it, but the next thing I did is I decided to check the other box. And the other box was, I use tobacco, I'm officially a tobacco user. But I pledged to complete a program by May 1st of 2015 to help me quit.
Very good.
Check that box.
Go smart.
Little did I know what I was in for, because now I have a life coach who sends me emails every 2 weeks, tells me I'm a terrible person, that I can overcome it. Why do you need to quit tobacco? Is it so you can be a better example for your kids? And I don't smoke it for my kids. I'm starting to feel like a worse person now because of this incentive program. In fact, I'm getting so stressed I might actually take up smoking. But that incentive is really driving me to think that $300 is not worth all this extra effort. But in the end, I just want to point out that in conclusion, incentives do matter and they drive our decisions, but don't get blinded by anything financial incentive that's going to cloud your judgment going forward. And finally, I recommend that you don't smoke and you drink beer instead, because that's not illegal yet. Thank you.